Matthew, verse 24 through 43. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from?" "An enemy did this," he replied. The servants asked him, "Do you want us to go and pull them up?" "No," he answered, "because while you are pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them." Now, in this scripture here, of course, it's a parable and it can be decoded in multiple different ways. But the one that I want to focus on is how the calcification in our body is formed. So if you look at this scripture and it's talking about how the weeds are entangled with the wheat, okay? Wheat, whole grains, and fiber, all of those herbs, because they form from different herbs, it's the medicine for our digestive system. Now, calcification is formed on the inside of our vessel, beginning with our small intestines, our large intestines, our uterus, our uterine wall, our stomach wall, our brain, deteriorating our lymphatic system, which makes up the white blood cells, which are our immune system. So these wheats, right? And the weeds, how the weeds can come in is the serpent. Now, remember, the weeds is considered the serpent because the serpent is very sneaky. It has the way to creep into different areas. You know, it's spineless. It's just made of all cartilage, the serpent. So it creeps inside of you like a parasite because the enemy wants to infect you with their seed. That's the disease. Now, in Matthew, when they spoke about how a vision can be planted in your mind or in your spirit, and it can be snatched away by the enemy, that's the serpent. See, what it does is it comes in and it entangles around your internal body organs. Because if your organs aren't in full alignment, that means they're not at their highest ability to function optimally, okay? That's when your mind is confused. You'll operate in a state of confusion. You'll not only reflect physical ailments, you'll also start to reflect mental ailments. Your mind will become attacked in many different areas, and this can produce memory loss. This can produce depression, anxiety. All of these different mental ailments and physical ailments, they are derived from the weeds that sneak in to the wheat and the grain. The wheat and the grain, I see the wheat as our soul. The grain is our spirit, because that's what detoxifies our vessel. Now, if you're able to consistently ensure that you are mindful of your diet. Now, your diet, that entails your mental diet, your spiritual diet, your visual diet, your social diet. It's so many different levels to this diet and what you are consuming into your vessel. You see, that's how you will ensure that you will be able to remove those weeds from your grain. Because see, the weapons, they're gonna form. That's the weapons of the enemy. That's the weapon of the enemy. Weapons formed against me will not prosper. But no one said that those weapons wasn't going to form. Those weeds are the weapons. But if you're not conscious and mindful of your vessel, those weapons can prosper. By placing their seed around you, which is your vessel. That's your hopes, your desires, your dreams, your aspirations, your strength, your morality, your values. It's everything that you stand for. If you are entangled, and your power becomes entangled with the weeds of the enemy, if your stomach is calcified, you're out of alignment. See, it's our pineal gland, it's our stomach. For the woman, it's the sacral chakra, which is right above the vagina. It's also our throat chakra, because it's the development of our voice and our throat in our youth. All of these things begin after birth. We start to develop our voice. That's when you take your first word. Some people have higher pitched voices than others. But if you think about how centuries ago we were fed certain foods, and predominantly the foods that we were fed, it was waste. It was the byproducts. It was the less desired part of the animal. It basically was the trash that we were eating. So if all we fed ourselves was poison, right? The calcification, it don't take nothing for the calcification to set in to begin. Now, if you fast forward to society now, we're living in a culture where exercise typically is replaced by snacks. A healthy drink is replaced by an alcoholic beverage. Meditation is replaced by casual sex and addiction that can range from drinking, drugging, gambling, whatever the form of addiction is. But all of this is a direct correlation of the weeds, you see, because once that weed was planted inside your wheat, inside your grains is your core, right? And your wheat is what helps purify the digestive system. It's the medicine. What we eat, we become. It's the medicine. Our body produces medicine. See, the one thing a lot of us don't know is the same medicine that we receive from the doctors, our body makes it. Our body produces opioids. Our body produces insulin. Our body makes everything that we need to heal ourselves. It's when that disease sets in, which stems from calcification, right? When that disease sets in, it clouds your ability to operate on your own accord. You're no longer beating to your accord. You're beating to the drum of whatever organism has attached itself to your internal body cavity. You see, those are the weeds. But the weeds, remember, they are planted in each and every one of us. It starts with our food. It calcifies our mind. It calcifies our stomach. It calcifies our brain. We're not able to think on our own. Just looking at this scripture, and it speaks about, it touches on several different topics. And the owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you know good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from?" "An enemy did this," he replied. The servant asked him, "Do you want us to go and pull them up?" See, when you go and pull up the weeds, you have to also make sure that you de-root that wheat, because it's planted inside of us and it wraps around us. It wraps around our DNA. It wraps around our hair follicles. It wraps around our small intestines, our large intestines. It wraps around the inner cavity of our walls of our stomach. It wraps around the groin area, because the man and the woman has the groin area. That sexual promiscuity. It wraps around that clitoris area. It wraps around the shaft of the man. But we're not taught that these are the weeds, and these weeds, they come in to destroy and separate you from your higher self, which is the direct connection to your soul.